welcome back to the 17th episode of this podcast. It's really amazing how far we've come so far. Today is also the second session of the second week of the steep interval training, as you might already know. Today we had 25 degrees outside, not too bad to go for a ride, no rain in sight. Actually, the forecast predicted a bit of rain later in the afternoon, but so far no rain. Even while recording this, as we already had, I was riding in the dry, and then while recording the podcast, it started to rain, but not today. I started today as usual with 15 minutes of warm-up. I paced myself a bit faster than usual, I don't know, just out of the blue. It felt kind of right going a bit faster and a bit harder. As I noticed that only my legs are hurting a bit, but my breathing is on a very normal level and I wasn't too exhausted while doing so. So I pushed a bit harder and came actually a bit further than usual. So I passed the gate, which was actually open as hunters have been using the road because a gun range is also next to the trail, or it's about 5 minutes of uphill ride away. So I passed the gate, and right in front of the first steep ramp, the timer went off. I approached the first steep ramp a bit too fast, so I was going a bit slower on the second approach, but just on point to push my threshold, or I was going around, my stamina level was around my threshold. So actually I could have maintained that speed for a bit longer than those 5 minutes. But my legs have already been pushed over their threshold, and usually it gets easier after the first 2 steep ramps as it is going flatter afterwards. And I was that fast that I actually reached the end of the third section of the trail. That was actually a mistake going that far. I should have rather chosen to go down on the last part of the trail. As I found out, if I'm not taking the trail directly, I won't finish my break on time, and I have really a hard time reaching the top of the trail from the very bottom. So actually, I guess it would take me 5 minutes and 30 seconds to go from the end of the trail to the start of the trail. So the next time, if I'm further ahead, I will try to take the trail first before going to the uphill, where it actually takes me longer to descent, and therefore I have to do more of a distance during the break. So as said, I didn't reach the start of the trail on the second intense interval, so I decided to go down on the forest road instead of the trail, as it would have taken me, I guess, more than half of my break to reach the start of the trail, as I had to recover within those 2 minutes, so I couldn't push as hard to reach the start of the trail. So I decided to go down the forest road, as already said, and then I crossed into the second part of the trail, went down not too fast as I'm not wearing any protection gear, just my helmet on the downhill during the interval training. And afterwards I started to pedal slightly with a slow pace just to wait for the timer to go off and then start again. And obviously, as I'm starting right in the middle of the trail, I'm passing the start of the trail at around 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I have to go past the start of the trail, where, as already said countless times, the hardest part begins. There are a few loose rocks, so I have to avoid them actually. As you might know, if you ride over also just smaller rocks on the uphill, it takes quite a force to overcome them, and the risk is quite high that you have to stop, as the risk of losing balance is even higher. So I had to balance between those stones, trying to avoid them. First I thought the uphill on that steep section will be, as usual, hard and unforgiving, but going further and further it became quite easy. So I don't know, the temperature, that cannot be the case, that 25 degrees have played in my favor, as actually colder temperatures allow me to perform better. But somehow I reached a threshold, a perfect ratio between speed and energy consumption, so I still have to check what my pace and my speed was during the last interval, but it felt pretty fast and I wasn't as exhausted as usual. So I kind of hit a sweet spot right there. It could be that actually commuting, I'm now doing the third day of commuting of around 9 kilometers during my lunch break, that actually that ride is improving my overall stamina. I'm not going too hard on that. I try not to sweat, obviously, as I'm only wearing normal clothes during the commute. So I still have to do some investigation if actually that commute is improving my performance, or it was just a mental thing, or if any other circumstances allowed me to go that hard and that fast on the last interval. Also, the recovery was easier than normal. Then as usual, I went down, approached the trail, put on my protection gear, and I tried the concept I talked about at the end of the last episode to improve your riding skills, and it turned out even better than the last time. So I'm really looking forward to share this concept with you. It's pretty simple, as I already said, and I have no idea how much it improved my downhill performance, but I would say I'm at least 10 seconds faster than usual. So I will try to check the times until the next episode and let you know how much of an improvement it gave me just after 2 rides. With that said, thank you for listening, and until the next time.